So you're thinking about moving to Atlanta, Georgia, or one of the other Georgia markets, and you're wondering, have prices gotten so crazy that I should just rent and wait? Or what's going on in the rental market? Does it make the most financial sense to buy or rent? And that's exactly what we're going to cover in this video. So if you have any interest in moving here and you're wondering what to do, buy or rent, you're going to want to stick around for this, and we're going to get after it right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about eating, sleeping, working, playing, the good and the bad of living in Atlanta, Georgia, well, subscribe below and ring the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Georgia. My name is Denny. The team and I get calls each and every day from people just like you looking to make the move to Atlanta, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving next week, next year, or anytime in between, call, text, email, schedule a Zoom. We'd be happy to help you make a smooth move to Atlanta. As I mentioned, we're going to be diving into should I rent or should I buy? What makes the most sense for you? Before I do, I normally don't wear hats in my videos, but today it is Masters Week in Augusta, Georgia. I've spent the last 2 days out there. Here was my ticket from Monday, and Monday was absolutely beautiful. Tuesday was, overcast, cloudy and rainy. And so I had, 2 different experiences, but wearing the Masters hat because this is Masters Week in Augusta. And if you're a golf fan, let me know below. Have you ever been? Would you like to go? Do you have a Masters story? Feel free to share it. But enough about that. In this video, we're going to be talking about should you buy or should you rent? And this is probably becoming one of the more prevalent conversations I'm having with not just people relocating to Atlanta, but people that are in Atlanta. If you sell, is there going to be something for you to buy? Like, it is a seller's market. Prices have been going up. Inventory's been shrinking. Does it still make sense? And the short answer is, well, that depends on what happens long term, but you can't make decisions if you're not really confident in which direction the market's going. And so I just want to share some things that I use to, kind of shape my decisions. And I'm currently buying a house. My whole family, we are moving as well. And so I've kind of made up my mind as to what I'm going to do, but I want to give you both perspectives because I think the more information you have, the better decisions you can make. And while home prices have been going up, rents have been exploding too. So you have, interest rates, home values, rents, all that stuff. So let me dive into my computer. So here we are, and I'm just going to click through some of the latest headlines. Here you have rents across the U.S. skyrocket, 98% increase in 1 bedrooms, 100% increase for 2 bedrooms. I don't know about you, but not a lot of people can absorb that. So you have skyrocketing rents across the country. Where's this? A record 18.2% of home purchases in the third quarter. Oh, I know what this was about. So in Atlanta in particular, and I wasn't going to talk about this right yet, but I'll go ahead and dive in. Not only are rents going up, but in a market like Atlanta, one of the things that is affecting that is there's just been this huge influx of investors. And so rents are going up, but in the lower price points, especially under, call it $300,000 or $400,000, you have a lot of increased competition from not just first-time home buyers and home buyers in general, but these big investment funds. And so a lot of that being competitive and offers, in terms of terms, that's funny, but cash offers with really aggressive terms, like that's made that market a lot more competitive. But here's why it may still make sense to fight it out and do what you have to do to buy, because here's what happens when investors come in and buy up all of the inventory at that level. And maybe if I can scroll back down to where I was, they were talking about nearly 20% of the purchases in the third quarter of 2021 in Atlanta, and places like Atlanta, Phoenix, Miami, Charlotte, North Carolina. I'll show you this. I'll highlight it so you can see where I'm at. all that were all made by huge businesses or investment firms. And so what happens when investors buy up properties in these areas? Well, it doesn't just create increased demand and price appreciation, but it takes inventory off the market. And when it does that, inventory's been shrinking. And so rarely do those homes then get put back into the market because these firms are holding them long term to collect rents. And that's one of the problems that we're seeing and why rents are going up. And here's another thing that can happen. I'll talk about this in the context of how much it costs. And that's rising rents. See, it's not just home prices across the US, rents are rising sharply. That's NPR. Here we are on Bloomberg. For Atlanta real estate agent Jamie Douglas, a dearth of inventory has made it almost impossible to take on new clients for affordable rentals. She now works with people who have at least $5,000 a month when it used to be $2,500 a month. There's just nothing available in those lower price points. Renters across the US face sharp increases, averaging up to 40% in some cities. It wasn't that bad here in Atlanta, probably 20, 25, not 40, but still, that is a sharp increase in rental rates. Rents are up more than 30% in some cities, forcing millions to find another place to live. This is the Washington Post. Rising rents squeeze Americans across the country. This is PBS. The Times, where are rents rising the most? 2021, rents rebound from pandemic lows in nearly all of the 100 largest American cities. So in the largest cities, the rents are rising the fastest. And so I give you that as the backdrop. And now I want to give you, so it's not just prices, it's rents too. Now I want to give you what the average is. And this is from Apartment List. The average rent for a studio apartment across Atlanta is $1,718. And you can see it goes up to a 3-bedroom apartment, $2,884 a month. I can tell you this, for a single family home, it can get even more expensive, because when you get in to the single family home market, well, then, someone has to not just buy the property. When you look at the cost of home ownership, it's the purchase of the property, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, HOA, all of that goes into the purchase of the property. And then the investor, the homeowner, puts the additional margin, the profit motive on top of that. So it's home ownership plus profit equals rent. So here you have apartments, the same thing in single family homes. I know in my area where I'm at in North Atlanta, a single family home that's like 4 or 5 bedrooms, 2,500 to 3,500 square feet with a nice yard and a swim tennis community, it could be $3,000 or $4,000 a month or more. So that's the rental situation. But just looking at this 2884, I'll jump over here to Zillow and just use their mortgage calculator. You can see a $500,000 home with a 30-year fixed rate of 4.73. So that's even today's rates, right? You're at $2,683 in terms of a payment. I actually, by the way, if you work with us, I have a lender partner, and I told you I'm buying a home myself and was just able to secure a rate in the mid-2s. Yes, last week got a rate in the mid-2s. You can still, depending on which mortgage product you use, whether it's a 30-year, a 15-year, a fixed or norm, you can still get into the 3 to 3.5 range, and even in the mid to high 2s if you're willing to use a different product, depending on your lender. And I'd be glad to make that introduction for you. So just reach out, let me know. Be glad to connect you. Back to our conversation. But even at 4.73, you're talking about $2,600 a month for a $500,000 home versus, let's go back over here, a 3-bedroom apartment for $2,884 a month. So with averages in the 2s to 3,000s a month, and the same thing going on with mortgages, the question becomes, will rates go up or will they come down? If rates go down, you can always refi. But if rates go up, well, you can't rewind the clock and get those lower rates. And we're still at historically low rates. If prices continue to escalate, and rates go up, is that going to put you in a place where you eventually can't afford a home? And here's the thing, people move into rentals oftentimes, and I'll just stop my screen share so we can have a conversation. People move into rentals oftentimes thinking, well, if I move into a rental property, that's the price. Well, we talked about, it's always the principal, interest, taxes, insurance, HOA plus profit equals rent, right? And so you sign this, 1 year, you can 6 month, 2 year, whatever, but you sign this year agreement, and let's say it's $2,000 a month. Well, most people are just thinking, okay, it's $2,000 a month, and then I pay my utilities and this, that, and the other. What most people don't understand is every single lease at lease renewal, usually annually, the owner has the right to raise the rents. And so if you're in a property and it's usually up to, sometimes it's, 2, 3, 4, but it can usually be up to 5%, but let's just use, 5% because it's easy math, right? 2,000 a month, 5%, you're going to be at, what is that? $100 a month, which doesn't sound like a lot, right? But if you're banking on paying $2,000 a month, and then over the course of a couple of years, let's say you didn't want to move, and you're up times 5%, well, then all of a sudden you're at 2,100, and then you're at 2,205, and then you're at 2,315, and then you're at 2,413. You see what I mean? Then 2,552. Every single year they can continue as long as the market, and if rents have been going up 10, 15, 20, 30, up to 40% across the country in different markets, then they're going to use that in their lease to ratchet it up every single year. All these investors, I told you in Atlanta, this 20% of the purchases are being done by businesses and investors. They're renting them out. They're not reselling them. And then they're turning around and they're getting you in. You've moved all your family in, you've moved all your furniture in, your kids are in a certain school, or what your lifestyle, you're close to work. Like, it's not easy for you to move again. So once they know they've got you in the house with that initial rate, they can move it up and move it up and move it up and move it up. And now you're faced with needing to buy something or rent something else or go through the hassle of moving. Also consider this. Today, or back, let's say, last year, 2 years ago, historically, when someone posted something for rent, I mean, you applied, and if you got it, you got it. But there are as many as 10, 20, 30 applications for a rental on the first day on market. So now even landlords and even realtors who do property management and who are servicing rentals, when they're putting a listing out there, they're doing highest and best. So it might be listed for 2,000, but they'll ask kind of the top most qualified renters, how much would you pay? How much would you pay? How much would you pay? And they're bidding on the rentals. And so I'm not saying that there's never a situation where rent doesn't make sense. Maybe it does, but I also don't want you thinking that just because the housing market is on, has been appreciating and home prices are going up and interest rates are going up, that renting is an easy fallback. There's pros and cons to both of them. Rent comes with some perceived flexibility, right? You can if you can't afford your rent, you can always move, you can downsize, you can, it's got flexibility. Whereas when you purchase a home, you purchased a home, and that comes with all the responsibility of home ownership, but it also comes with the opportunity for appreciation and, and all the things and stability and that kind of stuff too. So it's like, what do you value the most and what's most important for you right now? And so home prices in Atlanta were up 20%, rent prices were up at least 20% or more. If you buy a home, you kind of lock in your expense and you know what you're working with for the foreseeable 10, 20, 30 years. If you rent, that rent situation could change. Your rent could continue to go up. You're at kind of the mercy of the home owner. And this happens too sometimes. People don't even realize it. I've had the unfortunate displeasure of this happening to me, and as a tenant and as a realtor representing investors, is the investor or the owner of that property can also terminate that lease at their will. Usually they pay you like 1 month's rent. And so a lot of what you're seeing across the country is people are getting moved in, they have a 1 or 2 year lease, and then all of a sudden the landlord terminates their lease and gives them a month to get out and pays a small penalty. But now you have the big burden of finding a new place to live and all the expenses associated with it. So renting is not a walk in the park. Home ownership is complicated as well. And so it's really what's best for you. And that's where our team comes in. We love the opportunity to discuss your personal wants and needs, what makes the most sense for you. Is it flexibility? Is it stability? What's in your budget if you were to purchase? What's the rental market look like out there? And kind of walk you down that road is, should you rent or should you buy? And we always appreciate feedback. If you have comments, feedback for us, please leave them. We always welcome that. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you get notified when we release new videos. We always are here to serve. And so call us, text us, email, schedule a Zoom, send a carrier pigeon, like whatever makes sense for you. And if you have a master story, then we'd love to hear that. So you can drop that in the comments below. But until I see you in person, hopefully I will see you on the next episode.